Hi everyone, Mon here. Welcome to the channel, Intuitive Soul Savant, and I'm a real person, not AI. And I'm back again. Can you believe it? 3 videos in, 4 days or something? You know what? We're here for a lesson. We're here for astrology lesson today. Why is Mon back? Speaking of myself in the third person, why am I back doing number 3 video in 4 days? Well, astrology in action. Saturn is at 14 degrees, nearly station to turn retrograde. Not quite. That's next week that it'll actually station, but it's not moving very fast. So we've got transit Saturn, 14 degrees in Aries. Now, we've got retrograde Mercury stationing direct on Friday at 16 degrees. So transit Saturn in Aries, transit Mercury in Cancer. That's a square. Cancer to Aries. That's 90 degrees. That's a square. So that's the transiting energy. And that will lead us to our lesson today. When I was born, the sun was in Capricorn. What rules Capricorn? Saturn. Okay, so whatever Saturn does, I'm a little Saturn. Wherever the sun is and what sign it is, the ruling planet of that sign, you are a little one of those. Yes, we have our whole chart. Yes, we are all the planets. We are solar, we are lunar, we are all of it. We are the universe. We are made up of all universal matter. However, the sun is the light, right? The sun is the solar. Now, remember the other day when I talked about the sun ingressing into Leo, which is tomorrow, right? Tomorrow, the 23rd, here very early in the morning. So that will be Wednesday for you guys in the Northern Hemisphere. So I'm sort of confusing myself. So you've got that transit Saturn, little Monique, and transit Mercury making a square. So I'm feeling that square from Cancer. Now, that transit Mercury stationing, because it's slowing down, stationing to go direct is opposing my natal Mercury in the 6th house, right? Mercury oppose Mercury. Transit Mercury in the 12th house oppose natal Mercury in the 6th. Well, that would mean that transit Saturn in Aries is squaring natal Mercury. Yes. I would love to be born with Saturn square Mercury. That's fabulous energy, that square, even though it's challenging. Remember, we've always said in astrology, challenging aspects, the squares, the conjunctions and the oppositions, they make you move. It's uncomfortable. You've got to move. And so here I am, Mercury, making a video in the 6th house, giving service to you guys. Mercury in the 6th house, service. My natal sun is in the 6th house, which amplifies that 6th house energy, lights up the 6th house energy. And, with Saturn in Aries, anything in Aries squares Capricorn. We're a cardinal sign. Capricorn's a cardinal sign. Aries is a cardinal sign. The Cancer, who is hosting that retrograde Mercury and the sun until tomorrow here, less than 12 hours away. 12 hours, 5:13 a.m. So in 12 hours, the sun's going to move into Leo. Right. So let's go through the planets. So if you're a Leo, wherever the sun goes around the in transit, it's going to affect you. So every 28 days that the sun moves into a new sign, Leos all around the world, all the human Leos would feel that change of energy. The thing is, are they aware of it, conscious of it? And this is my lesson today. Let's get conscious, okay, of of our solar energy. It's the sun, okay? It's where the sun was at when you were born. So we've just said when the sun was in Leo, then that means that they're Leos. The sun rules Leo. And as I said the other day in the video, if there's no sun, there's nothing here on this planet, right? You can have all the other planets out there, but if the sun don't shine, we don't eat and we die because we need the sun's energy. We're like little plants. There'd be no plants. It'd be an ice age without the sun. So the sun, that solar energy, who you are in your chart. See, when we get to a rising sign in teaching, in learning astrology, the rising sign, well, the rising sign is the mask. The mask we show the world to hide our light, our solar energy, where the sun was when we were born. So let's really cozy up to our ruling planet. Sun in Capricorn. What rules Capricorn? Saturn. So wherever Saturn is transiting, I feel it. When Saturn was in Pisces, I had my return of Saturn. I operate in the spiritual realms practically. Even though those two energies don't go together, they do go together because Saturn transits Pisces every 28 years. So I feel it. You know, I head down, ass up spiritually, practicalizing spirituality when Saturn was in Pisces. When now that Saturn's in Aries, I got a bit of a get up and go, and I'm thinking of myself and my future, right? So Saturn's thinking in an Aries manner, and I feel that. Every time Saturn makes an aspect, a tricky aspect, I feel that because I'm Saturn ruled. So let's talk about the moon. So if the sun was in Cancer when you were born, and this is for all your family, like you can observe other people, right, as these planets transit around. But it takes consciousness and it takes awareness. Nothing happens randomly. This is why astrology is so perfect. Because if you're a good astrologer and you know the energies and something happens to you, you go boom, 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 boom. Like I did when I said I was sick. I had all that energy in the 12th house. All the subconscious family stuff's coming out, opposing the sun in my natal sun in the 6th house. I got sick. The 6th house rules health, wellness. And with the sun opposing my sun like it did on Sunday, transit sun in Cancer opposed my natal sun in Capricorn, that was the last day of the sickness, interesting enough. And I feel a lot better today, as you can tell. So let's look at the moon, those born with the sun in Cancer. This is why they're called moody people, because the moon moves every 2.5 days into a different sign, a different energy. So your Cancer person is a moody person because every 2 days the energy changes for them. The moon is emotional energy, so they're having to process emotional energy every 2.5 days, pending on other planets and aspects that the moon makes. So when the moon's new, yeah, all Cancers feel that, plus others, we all do, but Cancers definitely. When the moon's full, Cancers feel that. When the moon is first quarter, last quarter, Cancers feel that. When there's a stellium and the moon crosses the stellium of planets in a sign, well, Cancer feels that. So if you're a Cancer out there, be aware where the moon's at every 2.5 days and give yourself compassion if it's challenging. Take the reins if it's an energetic energy to start something new. Do you understand what I'm saying? So let's go to Mercury. So if you were born when the sun was in Virgo or Gemini, Gemini and Virgo are ruled by Mercury. So all the retrogrades, Virgos and Geminis feel the retrogrades. We all feel the retrogrades, but The Mercury-ruled signs, Gemini and Virgo, feel it even more, especially if there's challenging aspects and it's involving other planets. So when Mercury goes cazimi and goes into the light of the sun, you would imagine that a Virgo person or a Gemini person wants to spend the day in bed because they're burnt off. It's too much having the sun conjunct their ruling planet, Mercury. You got me? You're with me? Okay, so the next planet is Venus. So if you were born a Taurus or a Libra, that means the sun was in Taurus, the sun was in Libra or Libra when you were born. And so wherever Venus goes, transit-wise, and the aspects that Venus makes affect you, Libra and Taurus. Now, at the moment, Venus is in Virgo, and Venus doesn't like being in Virgo. And I know that because I have Libra soul sisters. And as soon as Venus went into Virgo this time around, one of her Virgo friends, she has two, started criticizing her and getting all judgy on her. And I said to her, you're going to have to watch Virgo. She went, oh, my God, today I was just abused by a Virgo. So wake up. This is being conscious in astrology. This is being aware in astrology. So wherever Venus goes, Tauruses and Libras need to be aware of the aspects that are being made to Venus and what sign Venus is in, and even what house they are in relative to your chart. So let's look at Mars. We know that Mars rules Aries. So I'm thinking, okay, Mars is in Gemini at the moment. So all Aries would be having mind, too much going on in the mind. I do know that. One of my clients the other day said, oh, my mind, I need to meditate. My mind is just trailing, your monkey mind, because Mars is in Gemini, the sign of the mind and thinking and communicating, and lots of communication and too much to think about, too much running around town, right? Then Mars will go into Cancer. Right, Mars doesn't like being Cancer. Mars so dislikes transiting through Cancer because it has to slow down and almost go to sleep and hang at home. Mars doesn't like hanging at home. So this is what Aries are going to be feeling until Mars ingresses into Leo, which is a couple of months away yet. And then Mars will go, oh, you beauty, I've got that Leo energy. I'm going to fire up. And then Mars goes into Virgo. So it goes on and on and on. And you guys, as astrology students, need to know these tips, because this is how you learn astrology, by understanding the energy, by observation. It's not about textbooks. The information you need from astrology will come to you when you need to hear it. Right? And because I've been studying 40 years, these things have all slotted in place, and now I'm passing them on to you, so you don't have to study for 40 years. You guys are conscious. My subscribers here are old souls. They've studied astrology in past timelines, incarnations. So Mars ruled Aries. Know this. Wherever Mars goes, you adjust. And you have compassion if it's challenging. You slow down. You don't keep pushing forward, Aries. When Mars is in a sign that's going, no, sorry. Otherwise, you're going to end up flustered. So you use astrology. We use astrology. Astrology doesn't use us. All right? So we've got Mars. What's after Mars? Jupiter. So now Jupiter's in Leo, right? So, Jupiter loves being in Leo because Jupiter is fire energy, because it rules Sag, fire energy. So wherever Jupiter goes for a whole year, all Sages, Jupiter rules, right? I don't include Pisces, because that was ancient rulership, Jupiter over Pisces. I say Neptune for Pisces. Jupiter rules Sag. the expansion of shooting the arrow and phew, off it goes, okay? The truth, the philosophical truth, studying, higher learning, right? So wherever Jupiter is for that 12 months, all Sagittariuses need to take that into account. If there's any hard aspects to Jupiter, I'm telling you, when they're coming, you think about it. If Jupiter comes up in the transits, whether it's challenging or easy, you need to open your eyes and go, oh, okay, how can I use that energy for what I need and want to get done comfortably, easily, in a flowing way without coming against it? And it's only our willfulness that comes against these transit energies. Otherwise, if we're in the flow, this is how life moves. This is how everything unfolds. So that's Jupiter. Next is Saturn. So they're the Capricorns. Now, we know that Pluto ingressed into Capricorn for 15, 16 years. So Capricorns have been transformed. So if you're reading about Capricorns prior to the latest Pluto transit that only happens every 250 odd years, Capricorn's changed. It's evolved since the last time 250 years ago. We have to take that into account, and especially with all this new energy on the planet. This new energy came in late 80s, 90s, and started building from there. Prior to that, it was very different energy, more mundane energy, right? And that's due to these outer planets doing this wacky 4-degree stuff, right? So Capricorns, as I said, all Capricorns and Aquarians, because Saturn co-rules Aquarians. Why does Saturn co-rule Aquarians? Because Aquarians are just so out there that they would float off this planet and gravity would not hold them, because they are out there. They are aliens, our Aquarians. Good aliens. All right. All right. So Aquarians and Capricorns need to know what Saturn's doing and what hard aspects, and use that energy like I'm using it to give you another video, right? And that's why I say I'd love it if Saturn was square Mercury in my chart, because how disciplined a communicator would I be? Saturn, discipline, materialize, making something happen, and Mercury, communicating. And in the 6th house, I'm doing it service orientated. No, so that's that. Then we've got Uranus, right? And Uranus rules Aquarius. So wherever Uranus is, Aquarians need to take note. If Uranus is having challenging aspects as it's transiting around, Aquarians need to go, oh, ouch, that's coming. Oh, it's okay. It's not random. I'm feeling uncomfortable, and I have compassion for myself and the other Aquarians that are feeling this energy, right? So after Uranus, we have Neptune, and Neptune rules Pisces, right? So wherever Neptune goes, it's a very slow energy, Neptune, and Pisces go with the flow. They're the fishes floating upstream and downstream. They go with the flow. They're a water energy. It's ethereal. They're in the what we think is illusionary, right? What we think is illusionary is actually the truth. And down here, what we think is real, the Saturn energy, it's a joke, right? It's not real. We've manufactured that, okay? It's manufactured, right? So that's the Neptunian energy. And then last but not least, we have the Pluto, the Plutonic energy. And this is the reason I've come to this video, because I have a beautiful soul sister, and she's in Darwin, and she's a Scorpio, and she's just coming to learn, she's opening up to the moon cycles and all this sort of stuff, and old soul. So astrology is sort of coming into her consciousness. And there's a lot of people learning astrology now. And she sent a message that, you know, she was struggling. She's a strong girl. She has processed so much energy. And that's what Scorpios do. Pluto rules Scorpios, okay? And so at the moment, you know, today we had Jupiter oppose Pluto. So I would say Sagittariuses, they're ruled by Jupiter, and Scorpios that are ruled by Pluto, facing off energy. So Sagittarius may have a Scorpio at work that's giving them a hard time, like a face-off, because in opposition, no one wins. It's a tug of war, okay? There's no winner. It's just this, that. You're best to walk away and drop it and they all fall down on their back. That's what a tug of war is like, you know? So a Jupiter in Leo could be a big ego, right? So the Scorpio ruled by the Pluto, let the rope go and let the ego fall back down and on his ass, right? I'm being nice here. I'm not being nasty about this, but this is how we've got to move around with these energies. So that's just an example of what's happened today, right? So Pluto is going to experience a full moon conjunct itself, Pluto. So Scorpios, I'm just putting it out there. Be prepared for a little bit of uncomfortable energy while Jupiter opposes Pluto, and then we're going to have the Sun oppose Pluto with that full moon. Right? Then you're going to have Mercury oppose Pluto, and then you're going to have Mars come through in a month or so to oppose that Pluto. And they're all going to conjunct that Jupiter. So Sagittarius are going to have a conjunction aspect from the personal planets. The personal planets. And Pluto's going to have the oppositions from those personal planets. Right? So if you just started astrology and you learned what your ruling planet is, what rules the planet where the sun was when you were born, and just keep an eye on the progress of that planet and the hard aspects and the easy aspects, and observe and learn. Forewarned is forearmed. Nothing is random. All the energies on the planet, none of it is random. It is sacred geometry. This is how we create our birth chart. The energy of the soul and the incarnation into the family's energies create your chart, which creates numerology in my understanding as well, okay? Like, it's big stuff what I'm explaining for the mind, but once you can start to really feel into these energies, you get it. You don't even need to know where do we come from. You don't even need to ask those questions. Humanity has evolved. There's no doubt we've evolved from the ancient times, even though the ancients actually understood mortality and immortality better than what we did, and technology in saying that. So that's our little lesson for the day. And then we've got Chiron, remember, the wounded healer. So they've given Chiron to Virgo, okay, because Virgo is the healer, all right, and the health and the healing, and opposing that is Pisces, so that's your spiritual healing, right? So we've got Chiron coming to Taurus. So all Tauruses would be feeling that energy. Scorpios, which oppose Taurus, would be feeling that. The Leos are feeling it because they square, and the Aquarians are feeling it. So the fixed energies, right, the fixed signs are Leo, Aquarius, Taurus, and Scorpio. And it's hard aspects, but us astrologers want to say to you, hard doesn't mean scary. Hard aspects are actually good aspects because they push us along. Look at that Saturn squaring my natal Mercury. Saturn in Aries. It's pushed me along to make a video. I wish it was there all the time. There'd be no motivation needed. I'd make a video every day if I had a chart that was Saturn square Mercury, because Saturn will discipline the mind to sit down and do the job. All right, so any questions about that or confusion, just write it in the comments box. But you know, just remember that we've just had Jupiter oppose Pluto. And then next week, we've got the full moon conjunct Pluto opposed Jupiter and the sun in Leo, right? And then tomorrow, the sun ingresses into Leo. That sun loves being in Leo. But then next week, the nodes, the karmic nodes, the south node moves into Leo. So we will discuss that then. So, yeah, the sun's there and Jupiter's there. Party. But in comes that karmic south node going, ha, it's not all fun. You are going to have to let go of a few things that you regard as important, but they're not. They're just ego. And that's what the south node would do. All right? That's so funny. And then Friday, we've got the Mercury station direct in Cancer. And we're all dealing with, you know, this family stuff, this family of origin stuff that's come up with the activation of the Cancer house in your chart. And then Mars is going to come along. So it's not finished yet. The family of origin stuff is being activated and it's not finished. Pluto's being activated, and we know that Pluto is the dark night of the soul energy, and usually the dark night of the soul is all about the family of origin because they're the patterns that have been passed on generation to generation that are dysfunctional and haven't been healed or overcome or undergone, just stuffed down, causing havoc. And that's what all the shadow and the darkness is in the Kali Yuga that the Indian age calls this age, Kali Yuga, all the darkness. If you know what Kali's like, she's an ugly woman with all these heads that have been chopped off and blood dripping from them, you know, all of that. And that's the shadow of humanity. And it's all coming out for all of us to see because the church kept it hidden for a long time. But no, but the energy has been released from the church, the Jupiter energy, because Neptune is here now with us since it's been discovered the last 100 or so years. So we are evolving, and it's a beautiful, beautiful hobby, practice, whatever you want to call astrology, okay? For me, it's my life. Astrology and numerology is just the way I operate, and it's the way I think now after 40-odd years, the way I think, you know? And then you observe and you get to see these things and you get to see your friends and family acting out these things that I'm speaking to you, but you just got to be conscious and aware. All right. I love you. Okay. And who knows, there might be a video every day from Mon. All right. We'll see what happens. Okay, my loves. I'll see you soon. Okay. Bye-bye.